feel the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in.
What's going on, Rangers fans? Welcome to another edition of From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast presented by DraftKings. I'm Jimmy Fanizzi. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at BlueSeats94 and use the hashtag BlueSeats to chat with us on any and all topics at hand. Also, make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube and subscribe on all audio platforms, and be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. First of all, if you are watching on YouTube, I finally have video again. Yes, my webcam is finally working properly. It has not been working for the past 3 weeks. It's been annoying as heck. Although, it seems to want to work whenever I do watch parties for THPN, which is the weirdest thing ever. I don't know what's going on there. But the good news is I am getting a brand new webcam very, very soon. So thankfully, you will finally be able to see more of me in the future. But that is neither here or there. We got a bunch to discuss for this episode today. We got to talk about a big trade that happened this past weekend. It is February 3rd, 2025 at the time of this recording, and we had a big trade that happened recently, and we're going to do a monthly review for the month of January. And thankfully, I am not alone for today's discussion. I recently discovered this show about a couple months ago, I want to say. I've been following these ladies for a while, following their show, I should say, and I haven't really gotten the chance to really sit down and listen to them fully up until about a month ago, and I gotta tell you, they know their Rangers hockey, maybe more so than I do. I don't know why I'm doing this show. I should have them take over my show. That's how good they are. This show is called Double Defense. That's the letter D, F-E-N-S-E. You can find it on YouTube and all audio platforms wherever you listen to podcasts. It's hosted by Christine and Liz. Unfortunately, we could not get Liz due to a travel day, but I did manage to get one half, and that is Christine. Christine, first of all, it's very nice to meet you. I love your lady's show. Welcome to From the Blue Seats. How you doing, my friend?
We're good. Thank you so much for that wonderful introduction. Appreciate it so much. And don't you love technical difficulties? So being that Liz and I are based in LA, technical difficulties happen to us on a daily basis. We talked about this yesterday. I always have to watch the game on a delay, if we get it, kind of blocked out for some reason. So there's always challenges.
That's brutal. You gotta
welcome.
That's honestly brutal.
When things don't go perfect, it makes it worse. I've had to watch it in Spanish before. So it's fun that way. And in our last podcast, we were talking about even challenging ourselves to kind of watch other broadcasts, because we get although we do like to listen to our own broadcasts, but unfortunately, sometimes I don't have that option, or, Liz doesn't have that option. So, it's kind of fun to kind of listen in to some of the other people. Some are good, some aren't so good, but it's just as fun, to kind of help us learn.
Hey, you know what? At the end of the day, there's only one voice that matters to us, and that is Sam Rosen. Obviously, it's his last season. All the best to him as he rides off into the sunset. Hopefully, the boys can turn it around for him and hopefully make the playoffs, but that's neither here or there. That's another discussion for another day. What is a topic of discussion? Well, that is true. But what is a big topic of discussion today is obviously the big trade that happened this past weekend. If for some reason you've been living in a cave, for those that are just listening in, the New York Rangers have brought JT Miller back for his second stint with the Rangers. They got traded in 2018, but they brought him back, and they also acquired a defenseman, Eric Brandstrom, and a defensive young prospect named Jackson Dorrington, who I heard very promising things about, by the way, so stay tuned for that. Well, to see how he does, I should say, but I digress. And Vancouver, in return, acquired Philip Hedl, sad face, Victor Mancini, and a conditional 2025 first-round pick, which would depend on if the Rangers make the playoffs or not, but that's another discussion for another day. Now,
Well, they traded that pick away immediately, so that now belongs to
yes, yes, yes. Thank you, thank you. I did forget about that. That's my bad.
that lasted
See,
about 3 seconds. So
see, this is
so
why I said you guys should be taking over my show because you obviously know more than me. But I digress there.
we
Bottom
way
line
know
is
more
this,
than you
Christine, and I'm curious about your thoughts here.
do. Okay.
I was a little hesitant to bring JT Miller back only because of the fact that, look, is he having the best year now? No. And I have heard that he has been a little bit of a hothead in the locker room, a little bit of toxicity. That's what I've heard. I don't know how true that is. I'm not in the locker room. But after I saw him score 2 goals against Boston the other night, I said, oh yeah, he's back. He's back. It literally is like he never left. Now, granted, it came in a loss, unfortunately, where they did not look good at all, but he looked really good. And he was also on the ice for all 4 goals in their big win against the Vegas Golden Knights at MSG, in which Jonathan Quick got his 400th career win. And congratulations to Jonathan Quick. Massive milestone for a future Hall of Famer. That is really amazing stuff. But with
That's
the
your
JT
topic.
Miller trade, I'm sorry, what'd you say?
I said that's your topic too. I mean, you can't say that enough in Quickie hitting his goal yesterday. So, and again, being from that we're from LA, I'm not going to digress over this too much, but being that we're from
No.
being a hockey mom, I have my son on the show a lot too. So, it's always been a Rangers kind of Kings household, but I've watched Quick for so many years. My son's 24, so I've been watching them for years, and he's well loved here, even with the trade. He's well loved there, and I'll tell you, as soon as that game ended, if you didn't see the well wishes from the Kings and other teams, it was just amazing.
I did, yes,
everybody misses him here. But he's ours now, so it's fine. It makes it exciting when they're going to be here next week. So, it'll be good.
Since you brought up the Rangers Kings household perspective, I have to ask, even though I hate to relive this year, what was it like back in 2014 when they played each other in the finals?
I was there, but also.
Oh no.
Well, wait. Well, so here's the thing. Not to reveal my age, but I'm a little older than I'm a mom. But I was at Game 5 in '94, and so I still know the emotion and electricity that was going through when I was there versus the following 2 games I was watching, and being at this one was the energy was just crazy there, and and it was heartbreaking. I still, there was a lot of things that kind of went through my mind too. We had that interference call that we couldn't argue, and that the refs kind of admitted was a mistake, and there's just nothing you can do about it. The league and the sport has kind of changed a little bit. So there's more, there's a little bit too much, the goalie call or the coach calls and stuff now. So we've kind of gone and jumped the shark on that. But there's been changes, in the sport since then. I was, literally I was happy for everybody watching it. It was tough to be in there, but everyone was really respectful for me. So, I still remember Hank just dropping down and I remember it all. And then when when we got really close, I mean, it was just a hopeful year and it was really close and it could have been anyone's game and it just didn't go our way. And that's the life of sports, So, it happens. And it happens.
It was,
but I was there,
Look, I
in my Ranger outfit, like a minority, it was fine.
I feel awful you were actually there to experience that. I'm so sorry. But having watched the team for 2 years at the time, I started watching them in 2012. I was devastated. Just learning about how they last won in '94 back in the day. My ex at the time were watching it over the phone, and her and I were just bawling our eyes out. We were so devastated when that overtime goal by Alec Martinez came to be, and I hate to relive that year, but I know a lot of people asking about it say, oh, how did you feel about 2014? I said, don't remind me. I'd rather not talk about it ever again, as I'm sure a bunch of Ranger fans choose not to either. But anyway, like we were saying about... Right, exactly. But like we said before, congratulations to Jonathan Quick. Fantastic milestone. We're happy you're ours, and hopefully this is not your last season. We hope you'll be back for at least one more year after this, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But
One day at a time. So back to JT.
Yes, exactly. Back to JT Miller. So, in general, the question I want to ask you, Christine, is what did you initially think about? Well, I know he has been in trade rumors for a while, and
Yeah,
it's
it's
been
been a
in
long time.
talks for months. But now that it's official, what are your thoughts about this trade?
So yeah, kind of tagging on to the rumors have been kind of crazy, and I don't entertain rumors because we just don't know. And it became a quick reality when I looked on my phone and saw that Heedle was gone, and I was like, oh great,
Uh,
and apparently it was such a quick trade that they still put out the meme for using Heedle as like for what they needed to do in that next game, and so yeah, that kind of set my tone for the trade. I feel that Heedle shouldn't have been a factor in the trade, but I also I speak a lot about that the sport's a business, and sometimes when you're playing well, they're all commodities. So when you're playing well, you're going to be worth more. I don't think the trades that have happened so far have been so necessarily warranted. However, it's not up to me, and it is what it is. So having to get over, losing Heedle and Mancini for Miller, yeah, I was hesitant at first, and to your point, like we see him in how he played on Saturday, which again, even the guys are announcing it. It could have been all on adrenaline and stuff. And as we spoke on our podcast yesterday, I'm more of a wait and see kind of person because my problem a lot with the team has been consistency. So there is hope.
Thank
There, the
you.
good factors on this is that he's with pro check, and maybe the two of them can form that bromance that we want to see, that can tighten up a line together, and we'll see, because it wasn't just Miller who scored, but Trocheck scored too on Saturday, right? So
Yes.
so that's the hopeful thing. And I'm my assessment, ask me again in like at the end of this month and see where that consistency is and if we're going to see that. So he's 2 games in, it's good. I mean, right now it's good. And then we're hoping that and this will go probably to the next part of your conversation, is kind of the report card part and what we're expecting, to see. So my problem has always been the consistency. So stop changing the lines, work with what you've got, and go. He's been doing a great job, knowing that he had 6 hours of sleep and had to play back-to-back games, and he's out there, doing that. He's also been given, a decent amount of ice time too. So so that's good. I was looking at that as well. Actually, you know what? It's interesting. He got more ice time than Kreider. So Kreider's actually been playing less than I thought. And I kind of saw that today.
I was gonna say
And
that 2 games in, he's already playing more than Chris Kreider. Make that make sense. But anyway, but no, look.
yeah, well, Kreider's only got 10
Go
or
ahead,
12
go ahead.
minutes, which is crazy. So interesting.
True.
Yeah. Sorry, I know there's a little bit.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're more than fine. Hey, technical difficulties happen. What can you do? We power through it. That's what we do. But with that being said, look, I've liked JT Miller. I liked him when he first was here. Again, the reason I was so hesitant to bring him back because I didn't want a level of toxicity or like a hothead in the locker room. But now that I'm thinking about it, maybe, just maybe, he can bring that edge and emotion that the Rangers have been missing all season. But again, like you said, it's a wait and see moment. But 2 games in so far at the time of this recording, he's looked very, very good. And I need to see
well,
more, especially on the consistency side of things with the whole team. But we'll get into that in a little
well, look
bit
who
as we
scored
evaluate the month of January.
yesterday.
But
Think. By the way, look who scored yesterday. Mika. So
true.
to your to your thing is, I would like, and this is kind of the feeling that I think we were seeing in the last 2 games is hoping that he kind of builds up, that momentum for those first the first 2 lines, so that they're starting to feel more comfortable playing to their potential, right? I mean, this is what
Mm,
other people have been talking about too, with like VC. I mean, I was glad to see VC finally out there because he's not getting any time. So,
mm,
and we, there's been discussions about that where oh well, he needs more time. These are professionals; they have to kind of work up to their potential, but they also need the time to do that. And when you're putting people on the ice, like like other people on the first line and they're not working up to their potential, you're sacrificing the other lines and the other players. And that's kind of what I would
Right.
see. So kind of tagging on what you're saying, the motivation and the consistency, and maybe kind of getting, we want to see more productivity from, Panarin and Mika and Kreider, right? And so between these three, we want to see it. And we saw a little bit of it yesterday. We saw a little bit, of it on Saturday. So that's what I'm looking forward to with this next. We have 3 more games before the break. That's what I want to see.
Yes. Yes,
I'm like,
before the World
right?
Juniors start on February 12th at the time of this recording. Like I said, February 3rd, World Juniors start next week. But let me ask you this here. On paper, because again, I know we need to see more on the ice, but on paper, what grade would you give this trade? Because I know
Yeah.
me personally, I don't like the fact that we gave up a conditional first round pick, even though it lasted 3 seconds, but that's just me. But other than that, I like it personally. I would give it a B, only because, look, it's sad to see Heedle go, but we got a young prospect in Dorrington who I really, really like. And Brandstrom, I would like to see more of him, but JT Miller, I do feel like, as much as I am still kind of hesitant about him, I do feel like at the same time he can bring that emotion that they've been missing. So overall, I myself would give the trade a B on paper, but I need to see it play out on the ice. What do you think?
I would give it, well, and kind of factoring in that, to be a little honest, as much as we hated to see some of the people go, the trades have not been bad.
Right.
Borgen's been doing a great job defending, our goalies, and back nine, he's been doing, pretty well too. He can stay out of the penalty box, but that's okay. So they haven't been bad trades right now. I hopefully there's not a lot more, but jury's saying that there still could be potential for that. But to kind of hone in on your thing, I would say B. I got to do it a little bit lower. I'm a little bit more skeptical, so maybe a high C plus or B minus, maybe, just
Okay.
to see, kind of and kind of laying out, let the other factors kind of weed out a little bit. I mean, it's still fresh and new. And again, I don't entertain the rumors from other things. I know he was on leave before, while the rumors were circulating too. And he's older. There's a lot of other factors that kind of, kind of play into things. And but based on 2 games, it would be a high B.
Well, look, the reason
But
why
the trade itself a little lower.
right, exactly. But the other reason why I would give it a solid B as well is because you didn't give up the top prospects of Othman and Perot. So that's kind of why I'm leaning towards a solid B, because you kept those 2 guys from being traded, which I appreciate, because I really do think that you should call them up eventually, sometime either later this season or sometime next season, depending on their experience level. So the fact that you kept those guys while making this trade is a plus for me. So that's why myself, I would give it a B.
Yeah, it's a fair thing too. So, the Alfman's still young, and I think he's got some potential. Let him, again, I think this is a discussion last year too. It's like, let him play at these levels, that he's at, right, and excel and learn, and he'll be good. I'm like, bring Berard back. I mean, he was fun, and so
Yeah.
he's
Yeah.
another one too, so but again, they're down there doing what they do, and they're doing well. So, where they're at. So yeah, you're right. They kept him. I know that there's been talks of people wanting those guys. So, I don't think Drury is willing to kind of give up these potential, players that he can use in the future either. So, so we're on hold for that right now. So yeah, no, I would not disagree with you with what you're saying. So. But our assessments are pretty close too.
All right, listen here, brother. This ain't the little itty bitty teeny tiny bowl. This is Super Bowl 59, and it's your chance to get in on all the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of Super Bowl 59. Scoring touchdowns is key to hoisting the Vince Lombardi Trophy, and you have a shot to score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. And new DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get 200 in bonus bets instantly. Will the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat, or will Philadelphia win their second Super Bowl championship? Whatever you want to bet on, do it at DraftKings. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code THPN. That's code THPN for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPENY or text HOPENY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly on behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. New customers only. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Going away from the JT Miller trade here, let's wrap up the show by talking about the month of January as a whole for the Rangers, because they definitely have played a lot better from what we've been seeing all season. I will say that. They went 7-3-4 for the month of January. They kicked it off with a 2-1 win over the Bruins on January 2nd. Then they took a bad loss to Washington, 7-4. Then they went into Chicago and beat them 6-2, even though you should, because the Blackhawks suck right now, but I'm sorry, I digress. Then they lost in overtime to Dallas at MSG, a game in which they showed some fight, but Dallas is really good. What can you do about that? Then they beat the Devils 3-2. Then they go into Vegas against the number one team of the NHL at the time, and they beat them 2-1. Then they have a few days off, lose a heartbreaker in overtime in Colorado. Then they go into Utah, beat them 5-3. Then they beat Columbus in a shootout 1-0, lose in overtime to a red-hot Montreal team 5-4. Then they shut out Ottawa 5-0, beat Philadelphia 6-1, lose to Colorado 5-4 in another heartbreaker, and then end the month being shut out by the Carolina Hurricanes, which is not what you want. But so far, they're 1-1 in the month of February, which is all fine and good. They got 3 more games before the World Juniors break. But for the month of January as a whole, I still need to see more consistency, like you were saying before, Christine, but they have been playing a little bit better. You know, they had that 8-game or 9-game point streak before losing that heartbreaker to Colorado to end the month. But, you know, from what I have been seeing, they have been playing slightly better defense. Their goaltending's been a lot better. I know there are still some question marks about Igor, but he has been playing a little bit better. You know, Quick got his 400th win recently. He's been, you know, there's not much you can say about Quick. Quick has nothing more to prove. He's a 3-time champion. He's going to the Hall of Fame. No questions about it. But here's what I want to see more of. Can we see more crisp quality scoring chances instead of the pretty passes? Yes, I get it. 50-50, it works. But 50-50 is 50-50 for a reason. I need to see more on goal and not, high off the glass, weird bounce off the boards, that it deflects in off a player's skate. I want to see more crisp, clean offensive scoring chances. And I want to see more offensive pressure. There's not enough pressure in the opponent's zone. The amount of times that I have seen the Rangers' opponents get more pressure in the neutral zone and in the Ranger zone is way too much. Way too much. And that's still a problem for the month of January. And it still was kind of a problem in the game against the Boston Bruins recently. But overall, for the month of January, I like what I saw, but I still need to see more.
I agree with you. Look, the month started off with the loss, and it was a big loss. It was kind of like they got smacked, just as they did at the end, on Saturday. But it happens. But then the entire month they got points, and then we lost to obviously some really good teams. There are factors that go into this thing. And this is where I kind of maybe spend a little bit more time in my brain, kind of factoring things in. So, for example, Colorado, if you're watching the time that they were playing the first time, Colorado's a team that, statistically gets better through the game. And so they kind of had to fight an uphill battle with that as they were trying to get into the swing of things. So they didn't do terribly against any of the teams that they lost by, because these are better teams and they have to be able to play and beat them. And, some they did, some they didn't. The sadder thing is when we did lose overtime, we had the lead. And so, you can see the frustration on that too, where we had the lead and we lost it within, the last minute or so of some of
Well,
these games.
that's been a big problem for the team all season, is that they, for some reason, cannot hold leads, and that's a problem.
Yeah, and so it's trying to figure out like why that is. We are a team that tends to kind of, if we're working it right and the bus is a ride, as Liz and I always kind of term it, that they kind of get a good start if in the beginning, they kind of fall short in the second period, and then we just seem to be this last minute rush team, that kind of sometimes can pull it off.
Yeah.
We don't know how, but we do, and then sometimes we just fall flat. So. The Colorado team is like they're really good. They and they're fast. They shoot a lot, and in Vegas, being number one, but they've kind of had some. So we capitalized on that yesterday, which is what we really needed to see. And
Yes.
and Montreal, like when you're playing, I don't even mind losses if they're close to a hot team, because it shows that we can do it and we're close, So I don't mind that either. But
yes, but let me counter that by saying, yes, you did get a point against Montreal. I 100% get that. But that's an extra point that you let slip away, and they need as many points as possible.
Oh, I know. But it's better than, I'd rather lose to a hot team close than get, owned by the Bruins, who we have to play again in a couple days, like we did on Saturday. So that's where I do want to see that, and then to your other point, and I fully agree with you on like yesterday, just to give you an example, yesterday, I think I yelled "rush the net" 35 times before they freaking rushed the net and scored a goal. So I'm very loud. Sometimes I have to not be in public a lot because I get loud. But like that's exactly what I did yesterday. I'm like, why is Kreider going in and just scooping it back to someone else?
Thank
in
you.
One of those plays. Stop being fancy. Take the shot and go for a rebound and set your team up. And also, everybody rushes us. I don't know why they haven't figured out to rush the net. That's a thing now. Boston's really, they're notorious for that, and as well as some of these other teams. So, yeah, and that's something that frustrates me too. Like, they did really well yesterday on their power plays when they get a nice good setup, and we kind of capitalize on that, which is good. And so those little things and improvement wise is what I want to keep seeing, with Keandre scoring that exact motion and position was when he scored that one game with 8 seconds to go to win. And I'm like, he needs to stay right there and just do that. So
yeah,
you're
referring to the game against Dallas. I don't mean to cut you off. I apologize, but you're referring to the game against the Stars a couple of years ago, where he scored with like 0.2 seconds left to force overtime, and they ended up winning the game.
Yeah, exactly, that one, right? So, and if you think about it, that play was exactly what he did then.
Yes.
What he did yesterday.
And hey, I'll tell you what. If there was any goal to boost anybody's confidence, that was a big goal for Keandre Miller. He needed that bad.
Yeah, they all need those kind of things. So we saw Mika scoring yesterday, which is good. So, but again,
after he cut his hair, Panarin effect, I guess.
Well, we were talking about that too. There was something to that because Panarin was hot after he did it. You might have to do it again. So I kind of took notes. The pressure, I agree with you, and and stop with the with the passes and the fanciness. Just get in there and take the shots. We've kind of seen it, and it's proven over and over again that that's not working for them. So I agree, and I yell at every game. So because we're the best couch coaches ever.
Right.
And then, absolutely. What? Like, literally, they listen to us because when I yell it, that happens. I think they hear me.
That's a fair point. Now, just to kind of like give an overall grade for the month of January, me personally, I'm going to give it the same grade that I gave the JT Miller trade. I'm going to give it a solid B, only because, again, I want to see more, especially on the offensive side of the puck. It's not horrible, but their power play does need work. It's been horrendous lately, even though they did score 2 power play goals against Vegas the other night, but that's neither here or there. Their power play has not really looked that great. They don't get any crisp, clean chances, and there's the pressure is lacking, like we talked about. That's what I want to see more of mainly. Other than that, I do like how they've been playing defensively. It's been much better than what we've seen over the past 2 or 3 months, and their goaltending
That's
has been
Morgan. That's
a little
Morgan
bit
for you.
better. But
Morgan's like a kamikaze.
right, exactly.
I mean,
But
he just goes. He's
yeah,
like, I'm protecting my goalie, and he flies. I love it. I love what I'm
yeah,
seeing from him.
yeah, exactly. But for me, I would give the month of January a B. What about you?
I would agree on that. It would be a lower B for me. Again, just about a little bit of the consistency, and so like
Okay.
defense is upping their game. And I'll tell you where you notice that, because we have a stretch where uh we get scored upon on the first 5 minutes of the game, and that right there for me, it's
Yeah,
over. And
that's also
so
been a problem recently.
yeah, and I find myself looking at the clock, and when they're in our zone, I'm like, it's 14:50. I'm like, I want it to be beyond 5 minutes to kind of get through that marker when I'm watching the game. Now I'm focused on other things that don't matter. I don't need more stuff. I'm trying to focus on the game so I can talk about it. And
Fair enough.
uh, yeah. So with that respect, I'm seeing them improve, and that's good, and that's what I really liked yesterday about with Quick. Everybody knows that Quick was trying to get to 400, so I think it motivated them more. And then whenever, like, what I noticed yesterday, since it's just a good relevant point, and fresh, was that when there was a puck scramble and Quick would come up, he was surrounded by 3 other players, and that's what you want to see around the net. You want to see the guys are right
Yes.
there when not long ago, True was facing the other way, and we're not seeing that, that kind of dedication with the defense. So, so keep that going, build on that. The grade is good only because we had such a wonky streak of losses and we really tanked ourselves. So January kind of got us a more out of the hole and within a potential to actually get the goal and get into the playoffs, which is now the question. And I was talking about this yesterday. Look, we have 3 more games. If they get a break, some of the guys are going to go. What I was talking about yesterday was some of them are going to go and play this 4 Nations game. And I'm like, hopefully they get intel on some of these opposing players that we're going to play. Get it and bring it back and let's use it. And the others should be working hard to get ready, because then it's a race to the finish line once we get back. And this is the part of the season where I love it the most. Everybody's scrambling. Everything's close. It's anyone's game. And it's always, and it's just really exciting. So win or lose for the Rangers, it's not up to me, it's up to them. But this is where I get really excited about, where everything will end up. And whether, you never know. Everything's so close. So
Yes.
we need a higher grade for February. So that's what I'm looking for. So you have a benchmark now, right? So, B, let's get a B plus
Yes.
for February. I'm all for that.
Let's hope the month of February is better. They're 1-1-0 so far as of right now for February, and as we stand right now, the time of this recording, they are in 6th place in the Metro with 54 points, 1 point behind the Islanders, who have surprisingly been red hot lately. They are in 5th in the Metro division, and they're also 5 points behind Columbus for the wild card spot in the Metro division. So let's see how February goes. Before we wrap up the show, though, I did take the social media at BlueSeats94 to get your guys some questions here. And we do have one here from our Instagram page from a guy who always watches every single episode or listens to every single episode and watches every single watch party that I do. Adam Gosling, aka Goza1877. He asks, how much are we going to miss Capo Caco and Filipino? And to answer that question, I think they miss Capo Caco to an extent. Because, again, he's played better defense than half the roster this season, but that's beside the point. So I think they miss him from that standpoint. But as far as Heel is concerned, I really do think they're going to miss him a lot. Given the fact that he scored in his first game with Vancouver, I think that says a lot about how he's motivated more than ever to go out there and stay healthy. Again, I don't wish injury upon anybody. I wish all the best to Filipino. I feel bad for what he went through last season. To get to this point is amazing for him. But I really do think they're going to miss Filipino from an offensive standpoint because he was one of the ones out there that was actually trying. So I do think they're going to miss him. But as far as Kakko, they already miss him, to answer your question, Adam. Christine, where do you stand on this?
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I'm a huge Kakko fan. And so I miss him terribly, but he's closer to me now. We're in LA, he's in Seattle. And
Fair enough.
Actually, I didn't know this, but the Seattle's farm team is in Coachella. If you've heard about the concert,
Yes.
Their farm team's in Coachella. So if anything ever happens to him, I might have to drive a little bit and just kind of hang out. So
there you go.
So and he's doing wonderful things. And Hedel has already kind of scored in his first game to tie up the game. So it was a significant goal too. Both of them, I think, different reasons. I wasn't happy with Kakko getting traded. I think the reasons were not what they should have been. However, it happened. I don't feel that he was getting just kind of like where VC is now. So I'm kind of wondering what his future is with the Rangers. Again, I was glad to see him play last night, but realizing, when they mentioned it yesterday, how long he hasn't played for, I wasn't focusing on that. And it's too much, for our players to be sitting out as a healthy scratch for so long. And that's kind of where I think, kind of keep an eye on VC and where he's going. And I agree with you. I think they're going to miss Hedel more and feel it. And we're going to watch both of these guys succeed extremely, which I because they're given the time that they deserve on the ice and the opportunities to show what they can do. And they weren't able to get that here. There's an interesting, yeah. And like, why did Drury trade him to the other conference?
Yeah.
We were talking about that yesterday.
It really makes you think, doesn't it? It really does make you think. But I do agree. I think they will miss Hedel a lot more than Kakko. But from a defensive standpoint, that's where I think they'll miss Kakko the most. But before I let you go, Christine, tell people how they can find out more about your show and where they can find you ladies on social media.
Absolutely. You can follow us. If you're following Jimmy, you can follow us on Instagram. We are double_defense, and that's DFENSE on Instagram. And we are on all of your local, podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Apple Music. You can find a link tree on our Instagram. Feel free to follow, and we love for you to listen along too with what we have. We're kind of known for doing drink pairings before the games, which I go a little psycho sometimes on my Google search history, but it's fun for us to do. And we just bring in a different perspective. And a lot of times too, my son, who's more of a West Coast person, will kind of come on and kind of give us updates on not only the other side of the NHL, but PWHL too, because we're really, good fans of the PWHL and how they're expanding and playing in their second year of, their professional season too. So we kind of like to kind of grab everything we can and get it out in 30 minutes. But
Fair
focus
enough.
is on the Rangers. We're both Ranger fans. We're called displacement fans. So that's where we are. But yeah, you can find us on Instagram. We're on Facebook, YouTube, and just remember it's double defense, and that's DFENSE. And yeah, follow us along. We'll say hi.
Hey, that's fair. That's fair. All fun and games. And hey, those New York Sirens, they're looking pretty damn good this season.
Oh, yeah.
But that's a side topic for another day. Christine, it's a pleasure to speak with you. Very nice to meet you for the first time. And thank you so much for coming on, taking time out of your day to talk to me. And let's do this again real soon. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Have a great day, guys.
Hey, you too, Christine. Go follow Double Defense. That's again DFENSE on Instagram. Follow them on Twitter as well at Double DFENSENYR. I just gave them a follow on Twitter and Instagram as well. And as a bonus, I did subscribe to their YouTube channel, and you should too. I'll leave a link down below in the description section. You guys can go subscribe. But that is going to do it for us. We want to hear from you. What do you think of the JT Miller trade, and what do you think about the month of January, and what do you want to see more of from the Rangers as the season progresses? Let us know on all social media, Twitter, Instagram, at BlueSeats94, and use the hashtag Blue Seats. If you enjoy what you saw or heard, make sure you hit that like button on YouTube and subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified of all episodes that are posted, as well as on all audio platforms, Apple, Spotify, YouTube Music, wherever you listen to podcasts. Subscribe there and be sure to rate us 5 stars. It would mean the world to us. And one more reminder, we are sponsored by DraftKings. The Super Bowl is here, and you can get in on all the action at DraftKings. Will the Kansas City Chiefs three-peat, or will Philly win their second Super Bowl championship? The choice is yours. Go to DraftKings and use code THPN. Bet $5, get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Only at DraftKings. Must be 21 or older in select states, and please play responsibly. Alongside Christine, my name is Jimmy. This is From the Blue Seats, a New York Rangers podcast. Go Blue Shirts, and we'll catch you next time. Peace!